That being said, Nate, let's get into it and let's do some buy, sell, hold, and the almighty avoid. I like the avoid in there too, because
Yeah,
you
it's
can
good.
just avoid a player if you want. Now, keep in mind, some of these players that we're going to be avoiding, it's not that we really want to avoid them, but it's just kind of a numbers game. Some guys we would prefer more. So let's get into it. Our first grouping, your two quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, who's 59 of 93 for 715 yards, 7 touchdowns and a pick, 16 carries, 97 yards and a touchdown. He's quarterback 2 on the season, 3.8 fantasy points per game. With him, we're going to put Drake Maye, 785 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks, 21 carries, 87 yards and a touchdown. Quarterback 5, 20.8 fantasy points per game. We got Jayden Daniels. Now, did miss this last game, so there's a caveat there. 433 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 18 carries, 85 yards, no touchdowns. Quarterback 24, 19.9 fantasy points per game. And last but not least, your boy, bubble screen Bo Nix, 535 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks, 19 carries for 71 yards, no touchdowns. He's quarterback 20, averaging only 14.5 fantasy points per game. I expected more there, but Nate, give me your buy, your sell, your hold, and your avoid.
Yeah, starting off with a tough one. I'm going to have to buy Drake Maye.
Okay.
I'm going to sell Caleb Williams. I'm going to hold Jayden Daniels. I'm going to avoid Bo Nix. Now, Mike, do you want to tell me what you're doing, and then we can have a discussion about these guys?
I thought that would be a good way to do it. I was going to say that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we only have 2 things different here. I'm going to buy Bo Nix, sell Caleb Williams, hold Jayden Daniels, and I'm going to avoid Drake Maye. So I think we could agree we're going to sell Caleb Williams because the values with the return with him coming on, the return is going to be the highest. We're going to hold Jayden Daniels because we just do not want to get him off our rosters.
I don't want to lose Jayden Daniels.
Exactly. Injured or not, we want to hang on to him. We've seen what he could do last year. I don't see much of a regression happening for him. Obviously, there's an injury, but we do have a difference here in our buy and our avoid. I'll tell you, I want to buy Bo Nix because I think his value is down right now. He's not playing like he was last year. I think it's going to stay that way, or it's not going to stay that way. And I'm avoiding Drake Maye just because that's the numbers game, baby.
Well, something I've noticed with Bo Nix's numbers this year, because obviously quarterback 20 averaging 14.5 points per game, a big difference from last year. And a lot of that, I think, comes from a lack of rushing. We haven't seen him use his legs as much this year.
True.
That's, as he gets more comfortable in the offense, they're trying to maybe keep him in the pocket. They're obviously doing more down the field passing as well this year, which is leading to a lower completion percentage for Bo Nix than last year. Less screens. They're still running plenty of screens over there in the Sean Payton offense, but they are trying to push the ball down the field. They were talking about on the broadcast of I think 2 weeks ago in the Broncos game, that coming into this year after last year, Bo Nix was great. He did exactly what they wanted out of that offense. But that was an offense built around a rookie quarterback. And this year, if the Broncos are going to win their division, a very tough division, if they're going to make a run into the playoffs, they need Bo Nix to do more than just, make the easy passes and, make sure the ball doesn't get turned over. He's got to be a little aggressive. He's got to push the ball down the field. And, you can't wait until playoffs to do that. So they're starting to do that with him, and he's going to get more comfortable. So I do think that his numbers will look better as he gets more comfortable doing that in the NFL. But I love Drake Maye. Right now, 20.8 points per game, quarterback 5. Mike, he's throwing to Demario Douglas, Stephon Diggs, Quinshon Boutte, Hunter Henry. He's making like a top tight end right now. I think Hunter Henry is tight end 3, I think, or tight end 4 on the season so far. So Drake Maye, I wouldn't say he's got, I guess technically it's a better receiving core this year because Stephon Diggs is there, but Stephon Diggs really hasn't done anything. But he's got a 72.6% 6% completion rate, which is much better than last year's 66.6%. So he's already completing, a better percentage of his passes. He's got more yards per attempt. He's showing improvement already. And he's also someone that is going to be good on the ground as well. So I really like Drake Maye. I think Bo Nix is probably the cheapest to buy of any of these. So I understand the value there, but I still think there's good value on Drake Maye because the Patriots don't really have the great offense around him just yet.
Okay. Yeah, I do expect the Patriots to continue to approve and offensively. So
Yeah.
All right, that was a good grouping one. I think I got a good one too. I tried to make this episode a little bit more difficult than buy, sell, hold, avoids that we've done in the past. Grouping number 2, Quentin Johnston, 14 receptions, 239 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's your wide receiver 7, averaging 18.6 fantasy points per game. Puka Nacua, your wide receiver 1, Nate.
Yeah.
9 catches, 333 yards, and no touchdowns receiving, but he does have 3 carries for 52 yards and a touchdown, 24.5 fantasy points per game. Jaxon, Smith-Njigba, 22 receptions, 323 yards and a touchdown. He's your wide receiver 4 at 19.4 fantasy points per game. And last but not least, Maserati, Marvin Harrison Jr., who I've seen someone call Mitsubishi Marv. 10 catches, 142 yards and 1 touchdown, 10.1 fantasy points per game at a lowly wide receiver 42. This past game, I did see him he got wide open and he just dropped a pass.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Kyler put it right on the money. It was a very catchable ball. So Nate, we're going to it's not good. Nate, let's start with you. We'll do mine, and then we'll discuss who is your buy, your sell, your hold, and your avoid.
All right, I'm buying Jaxon Smith-Njigba. I'm selling Quentin Johnston. Sorry, QJ. I'm holding Puka Nacua. I'm going to avoid Marvin Harrison Jr.
Nate, it looks like we have 2 differences again. All right. Our hold and avoiders are the same. We're both holding Puka. We're both avoiding Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm going to go ahead and buy Quentin Johnston, and I'm going to sell Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Would you like to tell me? I mean, Puka, because we don't want to get rid of him.
Of course. He's set up to be the wide receiver 1 the rest of the season. I mean, his target rate is incredible right now. He's being used on the ground. He doesn't even have a receiving touchdown yet, and he's the wide receiver 1. So, I mean, as soon as the touchdowns come, I mean, he's going to continue to just outpace everyone else. I mean, there's some good wide receivers so far this year that we have already some drop-offs. The big guys, Jahmyr Chase, Justin Jefferson, some quarterback issues with both of them. So Puka Nacua, he's a wide receiver 1 right now, and I think he's very much the favorite to be the wide receiver 1 on the season.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Jahmyr Chase still hanging in there, wide receiver 11. So, doing okay. For me, it's this. Like I always say, whenever you buy a receiver, you're also buying the quarterback. And right now, I want to buy Quentin Johnston because you had talked before the season, could this be the year for his proverbial 3rd-year breakout? It looks like it is. And then I'm also buying Justin Herbert long-term, who I've always believed in. That's who I want. And I think I could just get more for JSN. And that's not anything against JSN. He's your wide receiver 5 right now. But that's just kind of my logic there.
Yeah, no, I get it. You definitely can get more for JSN right now. I'm just so impressed by what JSN is doing with Sam Darnold and the Seahawks offense, which they totally swept the floor with the Saints this past weekend. But JSN, he's another guy that's got an incredible target rate right now. 22 receptions, 323 yards and a touchdown, 19.4 fantasy points per game. This is the 3rd-year breakout for JSN as well, where he already kind of broke out last year, but I think this is the year. I think he's going to finish top 5. I think he's got that kind of target rate, even with Sam Darnold. I think he's got top 5 fantasy potential in this season. And if he finishes top 5, then he's probably finishing the season as a top 5 wide receiver in Dynasty. So he's a guy that, I like Quentin Johnston. I love that he's, having kind of the career turnaround and that things are going much better for him. I think, I'm happy to have him where I can, and I'd be looking to probably buy him in a couple places. But I still think there's some value to get out of JSN because I think he's a top 5 wide receiver when it comes to it at the end of the season. With Quentin Johnston, I like what I've seen so far. He has not been credited with a drop so far this season, so that's impressive. His yak rec is up. His yards per route run is up. He's running a ton of routes. He ran 50 routes this past week. The Chargers, I never would have thought I'd see them throw the ball 50 times, but there they are. So I love what I've seen with Quentin Johnston, but Keenan Allen's also gone off. Ladd McConkey hasn't gone off yet, but obviously Ladd McConkey's Ladd McConkey. So I don't know if this passing offense is going to continue to be able to support, all 3 of these different wide receivers. It doesn't seem like a Jim Harbaugh thing to do. So, I think at some point, I don't know if Keenan Allen's really going to, continue to be as good as he's going to be all season, but Ladd McConkey is going to kind of, have it be his thing again. And I just think Quentin Johnston won't necessarily hit the heights that he's hit so far in the first 3 games, which 3 touchdowns definitely helps his numbers. He hasn't hit 100 yards yet. So I like what I've seen out of him, but I think I don't mind selling him either.
So fun fact, he's wide receiver 8, actually. I was wrong about that before. He's wide receiver 8. Garrett Wilson is wide receiver 7. They're separated by 0.2 points. Okay, Garrett Wilson has 55.9. Quentin Johnston has 55.7. And Quentin Johnston has 1 carry for -2 yards. So if he didn't have that carry,
that's what it is.
Just
not good on the ground, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not. He shouldn't be running the ball anyway.
He's bulked up too. I looked at it. He's gained about 8-10 pounds since he came into the NFL. So it's probably good for him too. He was a little lanky coming in. So
it's great when these NFL players put on weight and they're praised for it. And I put on 8 to 10 pounds and I'm disgusting. Hey, let's get to our next grouping here. We got some running backs that we like to talk about. Okay, so we'll start our third grouping. Got Bucky Irving. 174 yards on 56 carries, no rushing touchdowns, but he does have 14 receptions for 91 yards and a touchdown, 15.5 fantasy points per game. That's your running back 10. Travis Etienne, 46 carries, 270 yards and a touchdown, 5 catches, 31 yards and a touchdown, 15.7 fantasy points per game. He's your running back 9. Jahmyr Gibbs, monster game last night. Sorry, Nate. 43 carries, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns, 18 receptions, 73 yards and no touchdowns. Running back 4 at 20.4 fantasy points per game, and Breece Hall, 38 carries, 157 yards, no touchdowns, 8 receptions, 78 yards, no touchdowns. Nate, he's your running back 25 at 10.5 fantasy points per game. Give me your buy, give me your sell, your hold, and the all-important avoid.
All right. So out of this group, I am buying Breece Hall. I am selling Bucky Irving. I am holding Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm avoiding Travis Etienne. And this honestly might have been the hardest group that we had to go through. Mike, what are you doing?
I actually had a harder time with a different one, and I'll explain it when I get there. But I'm going to buy Bucky Irvings. I'm going to sell Breece Hall. I will hold Jahmyr Gibbs and avoid Travis Etienne. So you and I, we're kind of aligned in a lot. Our holds and avoids seem to be a lot here.
A bit more obvious. I mean, you got to hold Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously. I mean, that's not much of a question.
Yeah.
And I think we're both, good for Travis Etienne. Good for him. Yeah. But you like Bayshall. I mean, I like him too, but you like him a bit more. You like LeQuint Allen a good bit yourself as well. Also, Etienne is a free agent after this year. So
that was my point for the avoid. And obviously the whole Jahmyr Gibbs is not going to happen. I'll tell you right now, my buy is for Bucky Irving just because of, you want to talk about contract speculation. Breece Hall has that. He's even said, I'm not this coaching staff's guy. So there's some question marks there. I don't think we have that with Bucky Irving, thus giving me the buy. Bucky Irving is a little bit younger, I believe, than Breece Hall. I can verify while you explain your stuff.
Yeah, actually, I was pulling up the rankings already, so I can tell you Bucky Irving is 23 and Breece Hall is 24.3. So,
well, we're splitting hairs there, Nate.
But no, so Bucky Irving's a whole year younger.
Yeah.
So the reason that I have Bucky Irving as a sell is nothing against Bucky Irving himself. I mean, obviously, he's doing really great, RB10. I love the Bucs offense. Mike Evans is going to be out for a couple weeks, so I'm sure there'll be more work for Irving in the receiving game as him and White get more involved in the receiving game. But at the same time, Bucky Irving is the RB7 own keep trade cut at the moment. Meanwhile, Breece Hall is the RB15. So there is a decent, significant gap in their valuation. So for me, while Breece Hall and the Jets are not quite as good as Bucky Irving, there's a Breece Hall's RB25 and Bucky Irving's RB10. I want to buy low on Breece Hall at the moment. He will be a free agent after this year, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I am less worried about second contract running backs than I used to be. They seem to be doing just fine these days, and the NFL as a whole is going back to running the ball more. Average depth of the target has decreased every single year for the past 5 years, and it's a shorter passing game now, and Breece Hall is a really good receiver. So he's going to, I think at this point, likely find himself on another team next year and will probably be better for fantasy. So this is a bit more of a long-term play. I will be honest, if and that's where the valuation comes in. The long term, I'm not as worried about Breece Hall moving forward as I was kind of coming into the season, because he's shown us this year that he's back to being explosive. And at this point, RB25, just because the Jets just really haven't been that good since the first game against the Steelers, and he's sharing a little bit of the backfield with Braylon Allen. But Braylon Allen's also a good running back. He had an incredible prospect profile coming out of college. So I just want to buy on Breece Hall at 24 years old. I think wherever he goes next, he's going to be really good. I think Breece Hall could be something like what David Montgomery was when he left the Bears and went to the Lions.
Yeah, I could see that.
There's a couple other players. I'm trying to think of someone off the top of my head. For some reason, I'm kind of stuck at the moment. But like some of these guys that did decent and maybe didn't hit all the expectation they should have on their original team, but then they go to a different team once they hit free agency and they become that really solid running back from like the ages of 25 to 27. I think Breece Hall can do that. He's got a lot of athleticism. He's now fully recovered from the ACL injury a couple of years ago. I think he's a guy that on a new team could once again really be a top 12 running back for a couple of years. And he still might even be able to hit that this year if they can get back to giving him the ball through the air a little bit, and the offense doesn't suck.
Yeah, I could see that. So it'll be interesting there. Nate, would you like to get to the grouping that I had the hardest time with?
Oh, I knew this is the one that you're going to have the hardest time with.
See, it's my favorite position, tight ends. Let's talk about 4 of the best tight ends in the NFL right now. And it's cool that, 4 of the best guys are all young guys too. You love to see it.
It's great.
We got Tyler Warren, who has 14 catches, 193 yards, and no touchdowns. He's your tight end 9 at 11.2 fantasy points per game. Brock Bowers, 14 receptions, 179 yards, no touchdowns yet, but at tight end 8, he's giving you 11.3 fantasy points per game. Trey McBride, 17 receptions, 182 yards, 1 touchdown. Sorry, Nate. He's your tight end 4 at 13.7 fantasy points per game. Then Tucker Kraft, 11 catches, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tight end 5 at 13.4 fantasy points per game. I do want to just say I'd been beating the drum. This is not related. Zach Ertz once again sitting at tight end 7.
Yep.
Should have bought him when you had a chance. But Nate, we agree on 2 again, but they're different. What is your buy, your sell, your hold, and your avoid?
All right. I'm buying your boy Tyler Warren. I am selling Brock Bowers. I'm holding Trey McBride, and I'm going to avoid Tucker Kraft.
Okay. So we have our buy and our avoid the right way, or the same. I'm going to buy Tyler Warren, sell Trey McBride. I'm going to hold Brock Bowers. I'm going to avoid Tucker Kraft. I'll make this brief. I love Tucker Kraft, but the receiving room in general there, once they get healthy again, things could go downhill for Tucker Kraft real fast.
It's just too spread out among all those guys. It just depends on the game, what you're going to get from Tucker Kraft, and I don't want to deal with that on a week-to-week basis.
My hold differential here between you and I, holding Brock Bowers. I know he hasn't performed so far this season quite what we expected. New quarterback in there, obviously. I don't think this is a long-term thing for him. And selling Trey McBride just because I think I could get the most value for Trey McBride right now. I think he's the best receiving overall option that Arizona has. When I say that best value, if I was looking to sell one of these players, how can I maximize my return? In most cases, all these scenarios, I don't really want to sell any of these players, but when I pick a sell, who can I get the most for, in my opinion?
And that's why I went with Brock Bowers as my sell, and I held Trey McBride. I think I can get a bit more from Brock Bowers right now, and nothing against Brock Bowers. I still have him as the tight end 1 in Dynasty.
Yeah.
But they're not, funneling the ball through him as this offense this year. That's what it was last year. The offense was Brock Bowers. This year, they're spreading the ball out more. Trey Tucker has a ton of targets already through the season.
I told you people before last year to buy Trey Tucker, and you laughed at me in the YouTube.
Never wrong, just early.
That's right.
So, Brock Bowers, I think he's going to, he'll get back to it. But I think I can get the most for him. Trey McBride is the bona fide number 1 receiver, not even just, top tight end, but just the number 1 receiver on the Cardinals. Obviously has a really good chemistry with Kyler Murray. So, I don't know if we see that with Geno and Brock or not. I tell you what, Geno loves to throw the ball to Jacoby Myers. That's what I've seen when I've watched the Raiders game so far. And then Tyler Warren, man, he looks so good. He looks so good. He fits right in with this group already, which is impressive.
Yeah. And you know who else looks good? Daniel Jones. Who would have thought that all you have to do to look good is just leave the Giants?
It's not too surprising. Tyler Warren, one thing on Tyler Warren, he's currently second among NFL tight ends in yak rec, so yards after the catch per reception, with 9.4 yards after the catch per reception.
That's insane.
The only player above him is Tucker Kraft, actually, right now with 9.5. Down in 8th is Brock Bowers with 6.2, and then down at 14 is Trey McBride with 5.2. So Trey McBride does not offer as much after the catch as the other three guys do, but I'm very excited about what Tyler Warren is doing already, and he's one of these guys that you're going to build your offense around getting him the ball, let him do things after the catch, and he doesn't have a touchdown yet, but it's only a matter of time because I feel like he's going to be a guy that finds the end zone a lot.
I agree. Nate, are you ready for our last grouping here?
Let's do it.
All right. We got some rookie running backs here. I do want to say there's a caveat. Before the season, had we been doing this, Caleb Johnston likely would have been on this list, but he has 2 carries for -1 yard on the season. Or no, is it 2 carries for 0 yard? I just brought it up. Hold on. Nope, it's 2 carries for -1 yards on the season, so I kind of left him off this. But we have Ashton Jeanty, who's your running back 33 right now, 47 carries, 144 yards, a touchdown, 5 receptions for 3 yards, 8.6 fantasy points per game. Omarion Hampton, 42 carries, 142 yards, 1 touchdown, 9 receptions, 73 yards, and no touchdowns. Granted, most of this came after the Najee Harris injury, so I expect nothing but an upward ascension for Omarion Hampton from here on out. Sucks that it has to be because of injury. I do think at some point he would have just taken over that role anyway. But also, did I say the receiving stats for him?
I don't know. I was looking something up.
I'll say it again. 9 receptions for 73 yards. Running back 21, 12.2 fantasy points per game. We got Quinshon Judkins, 28 carries, 155 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 catches, 11 yards. Running back 31 at 13.3 fantasy points per game. Coming in at running back 35, we have TreVeyon Henderson, 19 carries, 65 yards, no touchdowns, 11 receptions, 73 yards, 8.3 fantasy points per game. Nate, your buy, your sell, your hold, your avoid, please.
Yep, I got you. So I'm going to be buying TreVeyon Henderson, who's currently the lowest valued out of all 4 of these running backs. I'm going to sell Omarion Hampton, who's the second highest value out of all these running backs. I'm going to hold Ashton Jeanty, who's the highest rated, and then avoid Quinshon Judkins, who is the third highest rated of this group.
All right, so we have a few guys, or do we have 2 the same again? Our sell and our hold. Yeah, okay. So, all right. So my buy is Quinshon Judkins, my sell is Omarion Hampton, my hold is Ashton Jeanty, and my avoid is TreVeyon Henderson. So we just have our buys and our avoids different. Obviously, selling Omarion Hampton, coming off that big game, people are going to see that and go, I want it.
Yeah, we're just selling high. Nothing against Omarion Hampton. I would be ecstatic to have him anywhere I have him. So
Omarion Hampton, I'm a huge Omarion Hampton fan. Holding Ashton Jeanty because I still believe he hasn't been getting the work that he should be, but it's got to be coming. Buying Quinshon Judkins, I just think that right now it's probably the cheapest you'll be able to get Quinshon Judkins for a while. Essentially, you're buying a good asset in what is an overall declining offense until they get a long-term stable quarterback, and then avoiding TreVeyon Henderson just because of all these other guys. It's not that I like him the least. It's just with Ramondre Stevenson there, he's still going to be formidable enough to temper TreVeyon Henderson's workload.
Yeah, that's fair. And what you mentioned about Quinshon Judkins is exactly why I have him as my avoid. I think he's very, very talented, but I don't think the Browns are a very good offense. And I think he'll look good this season. It's not like he's going to have a bad season, but I just think that like fantasy-wise for like this year's production, I think all these guys I still have, rated pretty similar like long term. So I'm not going to let that kind of be the tiebreaker. So I think short term, Judkins just kind of has the least upside, even though he's played in one less game than all these other guys and just already the second highest rated on the season. So he's obviously doing great. I mean, he's very talented, like I said. But I think TreVeyon Henderson's going to have a breaking here soon, especially Ramondre Stevenson fumbled again. I think he fumbled twice. So
together,
he's not going to have much more time being the lead back there if he keeps doing that. That's for sure. So it's only a matter of time, I think, for TreVeyon Henderson, who really hasn't had that breakout yet that I've been expecting. But he has been very involved in the passing game, 11 catches for 73 yards. Always talk about how, the cheat code at running back is getting someone who can catch the ball and he's going to get lots of targets. TreVeyon Henderson seems like that kind of guy for the Patriots. So especially with an offense that doesn't have a ton of receiving talent, I think TreVeyon Henderson can be a really big asset out of the backfield, both on the ground and through the air. So I'm buying him now because I think he's the lowest that he's going to be for a long time. Remember, he housed the kickoff on his first touch ever in preseason. His value skyrocketed. Everyone's talking about him. He's disappointed so far 3 weeks into the season, but it's 3 weeks into the season for a rookie running back. I'm not that worried about it. I just talked about it earlier. I love Drake Maye. I like the core pieces of Drake Maye and TreVeyon Henderson for this offense. So I'm going to be buying TreVeyon Henderson. Like you said, selling Omarion Hampton just because we're selling high. I mean, I think you can get more for him maybe than Ashton Jeanty right now with the Najee Harris injury, with what he just did last week. I think he's probably the most valuable to actually sell within a league right now. And then holding Ashton Jeanty because I'm not really worried about it long term. Ashton Jeanty currently has more yards after contact than he has yards. The offensive line has not been good for the Raiders. So it's kind of crazy. And then, I'd already talked about Quinshon Judkins. So,
we're talking about Ramondre Stevenson and TreVeyon Henderson. You look at, I just brought up the New England Patriots season stats. Nobody on that team has 100 yards rushing. Drake Maye and Ramondre Stevenson are tied at 87 yards apiece. Drake Maye is the only one with a rushing touchdown. TreVeyon Henderson is 65 yards, and Antonio Gibson is 58. So they need to kind of figure something out there on the ground.
Yeah.
They're 1 and 2. I know Drake Maye's look good, but still, the best way to help a young quarterback is a good tight end and a good running game. So,
yep. And they got a good tight end.
They do. Hunter Henry looking good, man. Looking real good.
A good tight end. So, yeah, I'm excited about TreVeyon Henderson. I think it's a good time to buy before he does have that breakout game.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for watching this Dynasty Rewind video. We hope you enjoyed it. Did you enjoy buy, sell, hold, avoid? Do you just want players to buy, players to sell? Tell us what you want. We're at the point in the year now where we want to know the content to make to help you win fantasy football championships. So please, by all means, comment down below if there's anything you want to see. Again, we're here for you. Check out dynastyrewind.com for articles, rankings, links to the merch store. And if you want more bonus content from us, including a Discord group chat, patreon.com/Dynasty Rewind. We have 3 tiers, $1, $5, and $10. The $1 tier just gets you in the chat. $5 gets you the chat and bonus content, which is all of our bonus podcasts, usually 2, sometimes 3 a week, depending on how busy everybody is. And the $10 tier gets you all of that and an extra special, very special, gold only group chat, as well as you get first dibs on any other leagues that we form. Thank you again. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like and subscribe.